But our next guest says there's still great opportunity south of the border. Joining us now, CNBC's former longtime chief international correspondent, now a contributor, Michelle Caruso-Cabrera. Michelle, great to see you.
Good to see you. Hello.
So theoretically, Mexico has everything going for it. Nearshoring, there are a lot of factories there, but yet these sort of capricious moves scare business people.
Erratic and interventionist, right? And you're right. I mean, the nearshoring trend should be great for Mexico. Everything post-COVID should be good for Mexico. They've got lots of free trade agreements, the USMCA, proximity to the United States, cheap labor, and also belief between the two countries that we need to secure the supply chain. And every time AMLO, the president, does something like this, it just rocks confidence terribly and causes incredible volatility. This isn't the first time. Back in May, he seized 120 kilometers of rail line because he wanted it, and he took it from a publicly traded company. They're supposedly going to get compensated, but these are things when you can't predict them, it really leads to your question about just how much rule of law is there in Mexico.
Why is this? Is it the elections which is coming up? I mean, he's already he's very, very popular, right? He's got
extremely
60%,
popular.
So it's not like he's going to lose.
So he can only run for one term. So the next election is between two women.
Okay.
One who is very similar to him in his policies, and then a more conservative woman. So the next president of Mexico is going to be a woman, which is going to be historic. And the conservatives really come out of the gate and has actually gotten all of the other opposition parties behind her, which is a formerly leftist party and the formerly right-wing party are both backing her against the AMLO candidate. So it's one of the reasons, the uncertainty about the election is one of the reasons why the central bank has kept interest rates so high at above 11% due to the uncertainty there, which is one of the reasons why the currency has remained so strong.
MCC, great having you here and great talking about emerging markets and whatnot. When I think about Mexico, I also think about a currency that at times has been extremely volatile, sometimes for the geopolitics and really headlines and much more over substance. Any thoughts? You're not a currency analyst, but you understand the dynamics with the current account. And it just seems to me that this, for investing in Mexico, getting the currency right is as big of a deal as getting some of the politics right.
And that's why you see the central bank keeping interest rates as high as they are. And don't forget, they have the other thing that helps the currency, which is when you have the nearshoring, every single time some company, whether it's from the United States or anywhere else in the world, goes to build something in Mexico, they have to buy the peso, right?
Yep.
So you have a natural support of the currency. The other thing that's important, and we can criticize AMLO for a lot of things, but he hasn't gone full Erdogan on the central bank. He's allowed the central bank to be very, very orthodox, which has happened a lot in Latin America because they're very fearful of inflation because they've lived with how bad it.
They've worked through it.
You mentioned volatility. The one thing I would say, we can be very negative, but I know many, many people who have made a very good living trading the volatility that comes out of Latin America, whether it's their bonds, their sovereign debt, because there's so much volatility. This is a trading show, right? You can really trade these markets in a way where there isn't a lot of volatility in other markets sometimes.
So is there thinking that when he leaves office and one of these two women are elected, that there will be fewer interventionist sort of actions that take place?
I think, one, it depends on who wins. If his acolyte wins, I think she's going to follow very similar policies. He's interventionist on something very particular, which is infrastructure. He wants a new refinery that's cost way too much money and was unnecessary, right? He wants to create this rail line between the Pacific coast and the East Coast. So these big projects that aren't well run, go over budget, et cetera, not clear if she would continue those.